The hum of the fluorescent lights was a constant, droning companion. Another Tuesday, another mountain of paperwork threatening to avalanche across my desk. By the time I finally called it a day, the sky outside was a deep, bruised purple, and the office was a ghost town. Just me, the cleaning crew's distant vacuum, and the soul-crushing exhaustion that only a 12-hour shift can provide. My tie felt like a noose, my shoulders ached, and all I could think about was the sweet relief of my couch and a mindless TV show. I shuffled down the deserted hallway, my worn-out leather shoes making pathetic squeaking sounds on the polished floor. The building was old, one of those corporate behemoths from the 70s, all concrete and glass and questionable brown carpets. It had its quirks, sure flickering lights in the break room, a persistent draft in the men's restroom, but it was familiar, predictable, safe. The elevator bank was silent, the polished steel doors reflecting a distorted, elongated version of me. I looked tired, older than my 32 years. I jabbed the down button, the plastic circle glowing a soft, reassuring orange. A moment later, a quiet ding announced the arrival of my chariot home. The door slid open with a familiar hydraulic sigh, revealing the standard, sterile box. Fake wood paneling, a scuffed floor, and that same faint, unidentifiable cleaning fluid smell. I stepped inside and turned to face the doors, a reflex born from years of solitary elevator rides. I pressed the G button for the ground floor. The door slid shut, sealing me in my little metal world. For a second, everything was normal. The elevator gave a gentle lurch as it began its descent. The digital display above the door lit up. 45. 40 for 43. The usual, slow, ponderous journey down. I leaned against the back wall, letting my head rest against the cool metal, and closed my eyes. Just for a second, the gentle rocking was almost soothing. But then, the motion changed. It wasn't a drop, not the stomach-lurching plunge of a broken cable. It was a sudden, jarring stop. I snapped my eyes open. The display above the door read 37, then it flickered. The number vanished, replaced by a jumble of red digital gibberish, like a corrupted file. The elevator shuddered violently, and instead of going down, it shot upwards, tannic, cold and sharp, stabbed through my fatigue. I lunged for the control panel, my fingers frantically mashing the door open button. The red emergency alarm. Anything. Nothing happened. The buttons were dead, unresponsive. The elevator was accelerating, a low hum masculating into a high-pitched whine. I looked at the display again. The numbers were flying by now, a frantic, upward blur. 50, 60, 70. This was impossible. Our building only had 50 floors. The rooftop access was on 51. There was nothing above that but open air. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the rising shriek of the elevator. My mind raced, trying to find a logical explanation. A massive systems failure, a prank, a nightmare brought on by sheer exhaustion. The numbers kept climbing. 85, 90, 95. The speed was incredible, pressing me back against the wall. The whine was deafening now, a piercing shriek that vibrated through my bones. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for a crash, for the inevitable impact when we hit the top of the shaft. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The deceleration was just as violent as the acceleration, throwing me forward. I stumbled, catching myself on the handrail. The silence that followed the piercing whine was somehow even more terrifying. My ears rang. I stood there, panting, my shirt soaked with sweat. I dared to look up at the display. The flickering had stopped. To clear, bright red digits glowed in the darkness. 99, floor 99. For a long moment, I just stared. It had to be a glitch, a ridiculous, impossible error in the system. There was no floor 99. There couldn't be. A soft, gentle ding echoed in the silence. The same sound that announced my arrival on the ground floor every single day. But this time, it felt sinister. It felt wrong. Slowly, with a sound not of smooth hydraulics, but of grinding, rusty gears, the doors began to open. Not slide, but part, like ancient stone gates groaning apart after centuries of disuse. The air that seeped in was different. It was cold, carrying a musty, earthy smell, like a long-forgotten basement or a damp cave. It was nothing like the filtered, sterile air of the office building. My curiosity warred with a primal instinct that screamed at me to stay put, to hammer the door close button, until my fingers bled. But I couldn't look away. The gap widened, revealing not an office, not a storage room, but a hallway. It was dimly lit, not by fluorescent bulbs, but by what looked like old, flickering gas lamps mounted on walls of bare, weeping concrete. The light cast long, dancing shadows that writhed and twisted like living things. And the hallway wasn't empty. It was filled with figures, dozens of them. They stood perfectly still, lining the walls on both sides, spaced apart with an eerie, deliberate precision. They were all wearing the same thing: dark, heavy, hooded cloaks that obscured their bodies. And on their faces, they wore masks, simple, white, expressionless masks, with nothing but two dark holes for eyes. They were all turned towards the elevator, towards me, silent, motionless, watching. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a systems failure. This was something else entirely. Something ancient and hidden within the modern shell of our building. A secret that had been lying dormant, right beneath our feet, or in this case, far, far above our heads. I don't know why I did it. Maybe it was a strange, morbid compulsion. Maybe my brain, overwhelmed and unable to process the sheer impossibility of it all, just short-circuited. But I took a step forward. My foot left the familiar, scuffed floor of the elevator and landed on the cold, damp concrete of the hallway. The sound of my shoe echoed in the profound silence. The moment my other foot followed, sealing my presence in this impossible place, a deafening slam echoed behind me. I spun around, my heart leaping into my throat. The elevator doors had slammed shut, not with a gentle hydraulic hiss, but with the brutal, final clang of a vault door. I lunged back, throwing my shoulder against the cold steel, pounding on it with my fists. "Hey, open up. Let me out." My voice was a desperate, cracking plea that was swallowed by the oppressive silence of the hall. The buttons were gone. The seam of the door was gone. It was just a solid, seamless wall of dark metal. The floor indicator above it was dark, lifeless. I was trapped. I slowly turned back to face the hallway. The masked figures hadn't moved. They hadn't flinched at my yelling or my frantic pounding. They just stood there, their blank white faces pointed at me, the dark eye holes seeming to drink in the dim, flickering light. The silence pressed in on me, heavy and absolute. The only sound was the frantic thumping of my own heart and the faint, rhythmic drip, 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 of water somewhere in the oppressive darkness ahead. I was on floor 99, a place that didn't exist. And the elevator wasn't coming back. The only way to go was forward, into the long, silent hall of the masked ones. My journey was just beginning. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this trip into the unknown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more strange stories. We'll see you in the next one.